There comes a time in every hobbyist's life where they just start accumulating random bullshit that they don't use because they think it's cool. I mean, because, like, this layout hurts me, and I really don't understand why people are fucking obsessed with these things. But I'm not here today to talk about these pieces of crap. I'm here today to talk about these little pieces of shit. These little guys are vintage Cherry MX Blacks, dating back from 1987. They have a bit of a... motherfucker. They have a bit of a cult following in the community because of how nice they are. I am not really seeing that. I'm gonna be honest, I genuinely don't know why people like these things. I honestly think they kinda suck. They're really heavy, they're fucking flimsy. These ones, if you get them reclaimed, they're all covered in solder at the bottom. I don't like them. Why I keep them nice in this jar, because they're a specimen, and I just have them on my desk in the corner so I can look at them because I have no intention of ever really using them. But I mean, come on, I wouldn't really, you know, take a soldering wick and rip all the solder off of the bottom of the pins on some of these and get all the working ones together and lube them up and put them in a board, would I? I did this all for you. If you don't end up liking it, I'm gonna be fucking sad. I basically just assumed that all the switches worked, they just were harvested from an old keyboard, so I took however many that are here, took all the soldering off the bottom of the pins, and then shoved them into this hot swap board to see if they worked. And they did work. For a while. I say they worked for a while because after some time, a lot of them started breaking, and that's because, as you can probably see on the bottom of these pins here, I did a horrible job at getting rid of all the solder, which means that after some time, a large portion of these switches didn't work. And that's because, since I didn't do a good enough job taking all the solder off, the switches, when I shoved them in here, really fucked up that hot swap PCB. Nah, dude, for real, they actually trashed this fucking thing. Like, a lot of these hot swap sockets right now are really fucked up and bent out of place because of just the fact that some of the solder on them is still there. This keyboard is already a meme. I built it because I wanted something to have the MX Blacks in case I ever wanted to use this thing, and it worked for a bit. Then the hot swap socket started dying because I'm a fucking troglodyte and didn't get all the solder off, and then when I was just doing normal edits to this board, the USB-C socket actually broke and fell off of the PCB. Like, believe me, the PCB in this thing is fucked. I didn't even screw it in the case all the way. The USB-C port literally came right off. It just fucking snapped. You're killing me here, KBD fans. Normally I'd have spring weight numbers for you, but I actually don't have any because as they went on through the years, the spring weights became less and less consistent. No, like seriously. This one random Redditor says that they're between 68 and 80 grams, and this website here says that they're between 60 and 85, and that's generally what I'm seeing when I just run Vintage Cherry MX Black spring weight into Google and start looking. Fun fact, the original Vintage Cherry MX Blacks are considered to be the holy grail by mechanical keyboard enthusiasts. Yes, this is a real hobby. Okay, first of all, fuck you for that last part. Second of all, that is not entirely a lie. Much like any hobby, people are gonna find some weird niche old vintage crap to be infatuated with, and these do sound pretty good when lubed. They sound fantastic, actually. But the problem is that I fucking hate them because they're so damn heavy. If you've stumbled upon this video because you're looking for information about these things, I can say that these are extremely heavy. Like, I would consider against buying a batch of them because they're very heavy. Like, we're talking, you have to exert considerable amounts of force just to push this thing down. If you're into heavy linears like Alpacas, H1s, Sohos, what's another one, Black Inks even, I think these would be right up your alley for you and your weirdly strong fingers. I mentioned earlier that I did lube these, and I was going to film that and show it to you, but this is so fucking boring. It's not the most entertaining thing on the face of the planet. I actually do think they sound pretty good. I don't like the way they feel, because it was hurting me to type on them. I really don't like the way they feel, but I love the way they sound. But if you're into heavy linears, I highly recommend that you pick up a batch of these and experiment around with them. Just make sure that if you're going to put them in a hot swap board, consider that all the solder might not actually be off of the switch, even though it looks like all the solder is off the switch. Just take my word for it. Really quick thing I wanted to address before I let you guys go. 5 days ago, this channel was at 60 subscribers, and then now it's at 285. This blindsided the shit out of me, and my imposter syndrome is telling me that I don't deserve it. But in any case, I wanted to extend a thank you to everybody up to this point in the last 5 days, and just in general that has clicked that button, everybody that's kind of been with me since the beginning. Seeing that number is a validation for a lot of things, because I want to establish content that is informative but also funny and entertaining, and that number validates that a lot. So I appreciate this. I really deeply appreciate this. So if you subscribed, thank you so much. If you haven't yet, I highly suggest that you do, because that keyboard is going to get paneled in wood. This computer is going to get ripped apart in the next episode, and I'm going to see if the little shitbox Pentium 4 in here can run Stalker like at 30 FPS, and it probably won't, but we're going to see if it can, and it's going to be really fucking funny. But thank you. Bottom of my heart. You have no idea how much it means. Even though this number is small, it's going to be bigger someday, and I'll be saying the same thing, but for now, this is a good step. And I really appreciate you watching my content. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys next time.